Bemer is the most effective and widely researched PEMF device available. When we look at one of these sequences of the microvessel in the intestinal area taken by Dr. Rainier Klopp from the Institute of Microcirculation in Berlin, this is regular, spontaneous vasomotion, so this is normal. This is not with use of Bemer or any other pulse electromagnetic field device. And you can see here that the blood is flowing functionally. But what I want you to spend really a lot of attention on is to look at the changes in variable of the flow pattern as well as the diameter. And you can see a pattern starting, and you're going to almost see this vibrating in 3, 2, 1. You literally see this start to vibrate, oscillating, even to the point where the blood is in a backflow, going to the opposite direction than it was. This is the body's unique way of shunting and moving blood where it needs to go based on metabolic needs. It's important to know that Bemer doesn't just affect what's in the vessel, but it affects what's in the vessel simultaneously with the vessel itself. So the white blood cells, the red blood cells, the components of the blood are affected, as well as these areas of the endothelial wall. Remember it from this perspective: our circulatory system, supply, and disposal. You have oxygen and nutrients coming in, carbon dioxide and waste products being removed. If you cannot bring in nutrients and clear out waste products, again, this is a recipe for disease. It makes perfect sense to me to identify these issues and address them rather than waiting until symptoms develop. This is a general blood flow video that I want you to look at. This was also taken with intravital microscopy. This is looking at poor blood flow or dysfunctional blood flow. You can see on the left side there, those are red blood cells barely pumping through. You can see on the right side, every once in a while, a white blood cell will slowly roll by versus functional blood cell flow, as you can see here. Look at the blood flowing on the left and also flowing on the right, with those white blood cells rolling over the endothelial wall. And they do this because Bemer also supports ICAM1, or intercellular adhesion molecule 1, which is involved with the mobility of white blood cells. So again, poor or limited circulation versus good or significantly improved circulation. Simply put, Bemer is the most researched PEMF system on the market today. And while Bemer does use a PEMF as a carrier wave for delivering its patented waveform or signal, the field itself is not the sole substance that elicits the complex physiological effects. In fact, Bemer chose to use a PEMF because of its deep penetrance and overall safety. Bemer is a bright technology, an ingenious solution to a systemic problem. Yes, there's a known problem with circulation in the body. The leading cause of death in the United States or any developed country is cardiovascular disease. What if we could identify at an early stage dysfunction rather than waiting for someone to have a heart attack? Not to say Bemer is a primary prevention in that way, but it certainly helps to lend a helping hand to the heart. Bemer didn't just pop out of nowhere. You may have heard of an organization called NASA. They've been researching ways to maintain healthy physiology for their astronauts who have gone to space and returned with many ill effects. Some of these ill effects can take weeks, months, or years, or in some cases, never recover. For example, NASA's been especially interested in using PEMF, pulse electromagnetic fields, as countermeasures for bone loss and muscle atrophy. Bemer has been working with NASA under a Space Act agreement since February of 2015. As a part of this research and development project, NASA has chosen Bemer as a cooperation partner for the development of undergarments of spacesuits with coils to support countermeasures for muscle atrophy and bone degeneration. And it's this joint venture that's paving the way for the integration of Bemer technology into human spaceflight, as well as exit preparation and re-entry regeneration. But it's not just any PEMF device or any waveform that works to elicit desired physiological effects, such as those sought by NASA scientists. There's important parameters that involve the wave shape or waveform used, the intensity or the flux density of the field, and the frequency. Bemer's patented waveform is the most researched and scientifically studied PEMF application available today. Again, all PEMF devices are not created equal. First and foremost, because of the type of signal or waveform that is used. It matters. It's important. It's this spectrum of frequencies and timely variations of the electromagnetic field that interact with our cells to give rise to the desired physiological effects. This Bemer signal that you see was created in 1998, and its application has been evolving ever since. The Bemer signal is a multidimensional, complex, sinusoidal waveform. And when delivered in a proprietary manner of frequencies and timely variations, this signal triggers the activation of vasomotion, which then enhances circulation systemically as well as microscopically, as well as increasing energy production or ATP. What you see here is an example of different wave patterns which have been utilized by traditional PEMF devices. You have the sinusoidal, the trapezoid, triangle or sawtooth wave, and these are all traditional PEMF therapy devices. Their pulses only reach a certain segment of cell frequencies. Look to the right and notice the broad range of the Bemer waveform or the wave pattern. This patented waveform reaches millions of cells within the body and has a systemic effect even where the field is not actively interfacing with those tissues. This study is looking at a comparison of various PEMF systems. Various devices were taken, 5 different devices here, and they were studied over a short period here of a few days, activating and using the PEMF devices on the subjects. You can see Bemer, which is the control in orange, outperform from day 1. And I mean drastically outperform. We're looking at changes in oxygenation or perfusion of vessels. This study is looking specifically at microcirculation. Interestingly enough, even after the 3rd day, when the devices were turned off and subjects were not using the Bemer nor other devices, as you can see, the figures indicate the effectiveness dropped down to 0 functionality. Bemer at its lowest, where it wasn't even being used or turned on, was still higher than the maximum of the best device, which you can see there, test device 4, for example. What does this tell you? This tells you that this device works and works well, and there are no comparisons. In addition to the signal and the waveform, the Bemer has a unique electromagnetic field distribution, and this enables the device to affect multiple cellular processes simultaneously. While Bemer does exhibit multiple effects, the Bemer PEMF has a profound effect on the hemodynamics, or how the blood flows. Think about this when we think about systems. How does blood supply affect the digestive, respiratory, reproductive, and skeletal systems? Every system in the body is dependent upon blood flow and energy. Energy is a component of life that is vital and necessary. Without it, your tissues and cells don't work. From an inductive effect, you can think of Bemer acting almost like a battery. A cell membrane has a charge consisting of a negative and a positive side. When cells begin to become dysfunctional, their membrane, just like a battery, will start to decrease. What do? Do we plug ourselves into the wall? No, we certainly don't do that. But we can use an activation energy like Bemer to inductively stimulate that cell membrane potential while simultaneously triggering the circulation, which then fuels and feeds our tissues. It's a double-edged type of deal when you're using Bemer. It's not just the body that has effects from PMF. The entire universe is affected by electromagnetic energy.
In fact, our Earth has a geomagnetic field. On the Earth, as we spin around our axis at 10,000 miles per hour and 67,000 miles per hour around the Sun, we of course generate a field. That field is called the geomagnetic field. This supports us and protects us from detrimental effects that can be caused by ionizing radiation from the Sun.
We've also evolved with this geomagnetic field, which ranges from about 40 to 60 microtesla at various places on the Earth. Think of your cells synchronizing to the heartbeat of the Earth. When you go away from the Earth, up into a plane or into outer space, this is one of the reasons why the cells and the body do not function properly.
When we look at the heart, we see that it also has a magnetic and electric field. When we look at the electric field of the heart versus the brain, it's over 60 times more powerful than the brain, and the magnetic component is 5,000 times more than the brain. That's amazing.
Therefore, it's not necessarily what's between our ears which runs our life. It's that which comes and exists in the center of our being. Did you know that the Earth's magnetic resonances vibrate at the same frequency as our own heart rhythms and brain waves? Did you also know that a mother's brain waves can synchronize to her baby's heartbeat? This is true. Even each one of us, we might get a vibe or a feeling. We are also emitting and receiving information, electromagnetic information. The Bemer signal is an energy solution for our regulatory systems. This increases the potential health, wellness, and balance within our beings. In short, when we look at what electromagnetism is, there's a broad range of electromagnetism, and all EMF is not bad. But conversely, all EMF is not good. You have to look at what's involved here. It's not just about ionizing or gamma rays with the tightness or the negative effects of these X-rays, for example, as you see here, gamma rays or microwave radiation. It also has to do with the information delivered. When we look at the information delivered, think of Bemer as a song, gentle, safe to use. The intensity of the song is your volume. And as you're able to utilize this, it takes the information and transfers it to the body, which then responds accordingly. This is a positive outcome versus when you input information, say from a cell phone, a microwave, or from high-tension power lines. These would be supplying negative information, which would then have a reactionary or a negative effect. The Bemer has a rhythm giver. We call this the plus signal. The plus signal is delivered every 20 seconds, and it increases to a high intensity so as to change the flux and the time variation. For example, if you're delivering a level 1 at 3.5 microtesla and then do the plus signal, then you're putting 35 microtesla into the body every 20 seconds. That changes the variance of the field or the intensity. And this is one of the ways, or one of the acute ways, the Bemer has a physiological effect on the body. Those delivery systems that have a high peak and a low fall, or a fast peak to fall value, these are what have the most profound effects. So we're supporting the body to have more energy, to have more strength, and for the mind to become more focused. There have been multiple generations of Bemer, but the current generation, the Bemer 3.0, offers more stimulus, more specific frequency variations along a specific timeline, as well as the plus signal, that rhythm giver. Studies have shown that people that have been using the Bemer have effects that can last 12 to 18 hours. Not everyone has the same outcomes, but the delivery of the proprietary waveform, as well as the time variations and the signal variations, are the key components to this newest generation Bemer and its profound effects.